Welcome to the land of make-believe. All that and more now on Graph's Grievances. For the fourth time last night, those seeking the 2024 Republican presidential nomination had a huge platform to explain why they, and not former President Donald Trump, should be their party's nominee next year. But instead of seizing that opportunity, 3 of the 4 candidates on stage once again refused to attack Trump, who is leading all of them by 50 points. This stark reality, apparently unable to puncture the land of make-believe that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, and businessman Vivek Ramaswamy inhabit. In their fictitious world, Trump exists, but is not running against them for their party's nomination, and certainly does not have a commanding lead. Therefore, DeSantis, Haley, and Ramaswamy see no reason to attack Trump and explain why they should be president and not him. The only remaining candidate who seems to understand that Trump is walking away with the GOP nomination is former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Take a listen.
We've had these 3 acting as if the race is between the 4 of us. The 5th guy, who doesn't have the guts to show up and stand here, he's the one who, as you just put it, is way ahead in the polls. And yet, I've got these 3 guys who are all seemingly to compete with, Voldemort, he who shall not be named.
And that was just the beginning. Christie later explaining that he remains in the race because the truth needs to be spoken that Trump is wholly unfit to be president again. The former Trump backer even using his closing statement to warn Republicans that Trump won't be able to vote in the upcoming presidential election because he will be a convicted felon and his right to vote will be taken away. Perhaps wishful thinking. Christie's forceful attacks on Trump not earning him fans in the debate hall last night. The Tuscaloosa, Alabama audience booing Christie repeatedly, signifying their continued admiration for Trump. And this response to criticism of the former president likely explains why DeSantis, Haley, and Ramaswamy refused to do so. Instead, DeSantis and Ramaswamy aimed their fire at Haley, who has been steadily rising in the polls and is now almost tied with DeSantis nationally and in Iowa. Meanwhile, in New Hampshire, Haley leads every candidate not named Donald Trump. As for the attacks on the former UN ambassador, they didn't really seem to land. DeSantis trying to paint Haley as a moderate bought off by Wall Street donors, but failing to provide any significant evidence. While Ramaswamy repeatedly tried to insult Haley's intelligence in a manner that seemed particularly nasty and sexist, even for Republicans. Ramaswamy clearly trying to ingratiate himself with Trump's MAGA faithful, despite the fact that those voters are not abandoning Trump. Ramaswamy also falsely claiming that the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol was a, quote, inside job orchestrated by the federal government rather than Trump supporters. Yet despite having a target on her back, Haley appeared above the fray, coming off as prepared, capable, and polished. At one point, when asked if she would like to respond to another nonsensical charge from Ramaswamy, Haley confidently said, quote, "It's not worth my time." So while Haley largely emerged unscathed, despite being the frontrunner on stage, the big winner once again was Donald Trump, the former president only facing real criticism from Christie, who called Trump, among other things, a dictator and a bully. Meanwhile, Haley and DeSantis continued to sidestep around Trump, while Ramaswamy embraced the role of being Trump's chief spokesperson and mini-me. All of this resulting in an exasperated Christie to ask,
and this is the problem with my three colleagues. They're afraid to offend. And let me tell you something, if you're afraid to offend Donald Trump, then what are you going to do when you sit across from President Xi, you sit across from the Ayatollah, you sit across from Putin? You have to be willing to offend with the truth and answer the question. Fit or unfit?
A very good question from the governor that sadly won't earn him many points with Republicans who sadly act as if Trump is the second coming of Jesus Christ, even if Trump is slightly more orange than they imagined. But guess what? At least some of these guys will have another chance to stop Trump's glide to the GOP nomination next month when CNN hosts 2 Republican primary debates in Iowa and New Hampshire. Thank you for watching Graf's Grievances. Let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, share. It really helps me grow this channel, and join me tomorrow for more.